Welcome to the Explainer. We all have great ideas, but how do they actually become successful realities? Well, today we're diving into the absolute nuts and bolts of what keeps projects from just falling apart. It's all about project tracking, monitoring, and control. So let's kick things off with the big question, the one that probably keeps team leaders up at night. How do you stop a project from failing? How do you prevent that slow drift into missed deadlines, blown budgets, and a final product that just doesn't hit the mark? Well, the answer is a discipline called project tracking and control. Now, the key here is that it's a set of ongoing procedures. You're constantly observing performance, spotting potential problems before they turn into full-blown catastrophes, and then you take action. And this is so important. It's not a one-time check. It's a process that runs in parallel with the entire project, right from day one. And the payoff for being this diligent, it is absolutely massive. I mean, it's not just about getting a better grip on the project. When you have this deep knowledge of where you are, it creates this incredible ripple effect. Your team stays coordinated, everyone's moving in the same direction, and you get to manage proactively. You're steering the ship, not just plugging leaks as they pop up.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We've talked about what project control is, and now we're going to break down the different control mechanisms you really need to get a handle on. We'll cover everything from the actual work and scope, all the way through to the schedule, costs, and even risks.
And this image, it just illustrates the whole idea perfectly. Think of these 8 processes as a project manager's toolkit, right? Each one is a specialized tool designed for a very specific challenge. You can't just use a hammer for everything and hope for the best. A successful project means knowing how to use the right tool for the right job at the right time. Okay, let's dive into this toolkit. We're going to start with the absolute foundation of project control, managing the day-to-day work, and of course, dealing with the one thing you can always count on, change. So the first tool is all about observation. Monitoring and controlling the project work means you're constantly checking in. Is the team actually working according to the plan we laid out? Are we still on track to hit our deadline? Now, this is not about micromanaging, not at all. It's about using real performance data to see what's going on, so you always know exactly where you stand. Let's be real, change is going to happen on any project. It's just a fact of life. But without a system, every little request can cause chaos and completely derail your progress. And that's where integrated change control comes in. It gives you a formal, structured process to evaluate any potential change with all the key stakeholders, making sure that adjustments are made thoughtfully, not just as a knee-jerk reaction. Next up, let's talk about delivering what you promised. These next controls are all about making sure the final product isn't just finished, but that it's exactly what the customer asked for, and that it's built to a really high standard. Controlling a project scope is just critical. This is all about protecting the project from scope creep. You know what I'm talking about? Those small, harmless additions that can lead to massive delays and budget overruns. The project manager's job is to defend that agreed-upon scope, and the customer has to formally verify it at key points. If it doesn't meet their requirements, well, then there's a clear process to handle it. And right alongside scope is quality. I mean, it's one thing to build all the right features, but it's another thing entirely to make sure they actually work properly. So performing quality control is like that final checkpoint before anything goes out the door. It's how you guarantee you're handing over a high-quality product that you can actually be proud of. Yeah, and this isn't just based on a gut feeling. Project managers use a whole range of real analytical tools to measure quality. Whether it's doing a root cause analysis to figure out exactly why a bug happened, or using a Pareto chart to find the most common problems, these tools bring actual data and science into the quality process. Okay, next up are the 2 big ones. The 2 constraints that pretty much everyone, from a team member all the way up to the CEO, cares about the most: staying on time and on budget. So how in the world do you control both of these at the same time? Well, one really powerful technique is called Earned Value Management, or EVM. Think of it this way. Instead of just tracking what you've spent, EVM tells you how much work you've actually completed for the money you've spent. It gives you these 2 simple numbers, a Cost Performance Index, or CPI, and a Schedule Performance Index, SPI. They give you a crystal clear, data-driven answer to the questions, are we on budget and are we on time? All right, let's round out our toolkit by looking at how to manage all the external stuff. And, communication. We'll cover how to handle risks, how to deal with outside vendors, and the super important process of just keeping everyone in the loop. A great project manager is always thinking about what could possibly go wrong. Controlling risk means you're proactively on the lookout for potential problems, and they can come from anywhere. People, processes, technology, you name it. The goal isn't to avoid every single risk. That's impossible. The goal is to spot them early and have a plan ready to go. Now, what happens when your project depends on outside help, like a contractor or a vendor? You need a process to manage them. That's what administer procurement is all about. It makes sure that the third party's work is being monitored and that their role and responsibilities are totally clear. Because at the end of the day, their success is your project's success. Okay, and what's really interesting here is that reporting is not just some boring afterthought. It's the communication layer. It's the glue that holds all these other controls together. By collecting all that info, status reports, progress updates, the project manager can keep every single stakeholder informed, making sure everyone is working from the exact same set of facts. And that really brings us to the key takeaway from all of this. None of these tools, not a single one, works in a vacuum. A really skilled project manager is using all of them, all the time, in parallel. It's this dynamic, constant process of observing, analyzing, and adjusting to keep the project moving straight towards a successful finish. And that wraps up our tour of the Project Control Toolkit. We've gone through the core mechanisms you need to keep a project on the rails. But I'm going to leave you with a final thought for your own projects. Which one of these controls do you think is the most frequently overlooked? And more importantly, what's the ultimate price a project pays for that oversight? Thanks for watching.